Hey, what's up guys, it's Nick2. Today we're going to be talking about Renown and what is the fastest way to gain Renown, the fastest and most efficient way to gain Renown once you either swap Covenants or once you get a fresh character to level 60. This is going to be very applicable to both of those scenarios. Recently I swapped from Venthyr to Night Fae and I was able to I was able to grind 31 Renown within 1 week. The main reason that I wanted to grind Renown so much and very quickly was so that the following Tuesday, which was actually this Tuesday, I was able to have all my soulbinds and conduits unlocked so that I wasn't at any disadvantage. When I swapped Covenants, I realized that there wasn't really a lot of concrete information online, nor could I find a comprehensive guide to gaining Renown, what the most efficient way to do things is, what order in which I should do things, etc. So I figured that I would fill that void and help any of you guys that plan on swapping Covenants, maybe because of the 9.0.5 changes, or in the future. I'm pretty sure this video will be relevant for almost the entirety of the expansion, unless Blizzard changes something, or unless they release some information regarding catch-up Renown. By the way, a lot of this is guesswork, but this is mainly based off of, what I did, the grind that I went through, and everything that I kind of found out after I had swapped Covenants. Because like I said, there isn't really a lot of concrete information, so a lot of this stuff is going to be guessing, but if I was able to get 31 Renown in a week, I'm fairly certain that my understanding of how the catch-up mechanism and all that stuff works. So yeah, I'm just here to share that with you guys. If you guys are curious as to why a warrior would ever swap to Night Fae, I have a separate video on that, so feel free to check that out. I also have a video on my UI if you're interested, links in the description. And yeah, I'm pretty much just going to be talking about exactly what I did in what order to get Renown, and I'll be giving some tips and tricks along the way. If you just want a written version of this, I'll have one in the description, but if you instantly click off the video, it kind of kills YouTube algorithm. So if you do that and you just go via the description, please make sure to drop a like as it helps me out a ton if the video did help you. If it didn't help you, make sure to dislike it. Alright, let's get into the video. So let's say that I just swapped Covenants, or maybe I just hit level 60, and currently I am at level 1 Renown. Immediately you'll see that in your Covenant Hall you have a lot of quests. You can get the 2 weekly quests which are guaranteed to give you Renown. This is the Anima collected quest, and this is the Soul quest. Turning these in will give you Renown. Also, you'll be able to do the entirety of whatever your Covenant campaign is, and that will also give you a total of, I believe, about 9 Renown. It's 1 Renown per chapter. And you'll also have the callings available within your Covenant Hall, and all those are going to give you Renown, but it is based on what level of Renown that you currently are at. All these forms of Renown are called guaranteed forms of Renown, or at least that's what I'm going to be referring to them as, and I would recommend saving these until the very end of the week, or until you need to reach a Renown breakpoint as soon as possible. The reason for this is because the way that the Renown catch-up mechanism works, or at least this is my understanding of it, is that the lower Renown that you are, the more likely you are to gain catch-up Renown via any form of activity. Almost any activity within the game can give you Renown, being heroic dungeons, normal dungeons, mythic dungeons, mythic raid, normal raid, LFR even, PvP. Almost anything that you can do can give you a guarantee, or can give you Renown, but you have a higher likelihood of gaining this Renown the lower Renown that you currently are at. So for example, if I just swapped to Night Fae and I immediately were to go do all of my soul quests, all the guaranteed forms of Renown that I was referring to, then when I went to try to do raid or something to also get Renown, I would have a lower likelihood of it dropping because I've already jump started myself from 1 Renown to 11. Therefore the game's catch-up mechanism isn't going to favor me as much because I've already reached like a break point of Renown. There isn't concrete information on this, but I know for sure that this is how this works based on what I noticed when I was playing. But also the Renown that you get is based on the difficulty, or the frequency that the Renown drops, or the likelihood that you are going to get the Renown also depends on the difficulty of the content that you are doing. Main takeaway from that is to just save all the guaranteed forms of Renown for later and quickly. There's some pretty easy stuff that you can do to get some Renown right off the bat. I've done this on all of my alt characters that I've recently leveled, and I did this on my character. And as you can see, I'm already at Renown 38, and I didn't even grind once I got past 31. And I was able to get 31 Renown, and I think it was like 4 or 5 days. And I actually could have done it a little bit more efficiently, so here I'm going to talk with you about that. Oh, another form of guaranteed Renown is killing the world boss. So if you can, I would wait, but that's only going to give you 1 Renown, so you don't really need to worry about it. Also, if there's a calling quest that you have that is going to expire, you can do that quest for the Renown because you'd rather just do it and not have the quest expire than worry about it potentially hindering you via catch-up Renown. Sorry if I've lost a few of you. It's a little bit weird how the system works, but hopefully everybody's following so far. So Now I'm just going to talk about the order in which I did things. So first thing that you want to do to get Renown, in my opinion, is Heroic Dungeons. You may even be able to do normal mode and get some Renown via that. I didn't do that. I just went right to Heroic. I did about 4 of these, and I believe all 4 of them gave me Renown. I think on the 5th one, I decided that on the 5th one I didn't get any Renown, and it probably was like a 50-50 chance or something, but I just decided that I didn't want to do it anymore. So then I hedged my bets doing other things. But you could do about 4 or 5 of these. You could even do more if you don't have a lot of gear particularly on that character and you don't really mind doing Heroic Dungeons. By the way, you're only going to get Renown from the end of the dungeon reward. You're not going to get it from like killing a boss early on or something. After doing about 4 or 5 of those, you'll be at about Renown 5 or 6. And then what I did is I went and did LFR, or this is what I'd recommend. The order in which I did things was a little bit weird and a little bit inefficient. I was able to get 31 Renown, however, but this is just what I'm going to recommend to you guys. And I'll mention what I did here and there and the mistakes that I made. But I just went and did LFR after doing some Heroic Dungeons. LFR, you have a pretty good chance of getting Renown per boss, but you do have to suffer through LFR. However, if you're on a brand new character, doing LFR is a good thing to do just for gear anyways. But also, you may not have the opportunity to queue into normal or Heroic raid. And getting LFR or getting Renown from bosses in raid is a very good way of getting Renown pretty much almost for free. Keep in mind, you can get Renown from every single difficulty of dungeon, boss, etc. You're only locked out of loot per difficulty. So theoretically, and this is actually what I did, you could do LFR normal mode and then Heroic and stand to gain Renown from every single form of difficulty. So I went and did LFR. I only did 3 wings, and I think we only killed like 6 bosses or something because it was pretty rough. I queued into one that was like halfway into a wing. I did an 8-minute long Shriek Wing fight. I did a 10-minute long Sun King. It was miserable, not my cup of tea, so I was just like, dude, I'm out of here. I don't want to do this. But if you don't mind spending that little bit of time, doing LFR is a pretty good way of getting Renown. I think I may have gotten like 3 or 4 Renown out of the 6 bosses that I killed. Memory's a little foggy there. After doing LFR, I would actually recommend doing some Mythic Zeros. I'd imagine that this has a pretty good drop rate of giving you Renown. You could even do Mythic Plus if you wanted. I actually got some Renown doing Mythic Plus towards the end of the week. I actually didn't do it for the entirety of the week because I told, or some people told me that they didn't have very good success doing Mythic Plus. But I imagine if you're very early on into your Renown and you do some like pretty lower keys, if you can like speed through them, you could probably get some Renown doing that. Or you could just decide to do Mythic Zeros, especially if you're on a new character. And I imagine that doing a host of those, probably like 4 or 5, will give you guaranteed Renown. Again, not completely sure, but that's what I would recommend. So after you do Heroic Dungeons, LFR, and then maybe some Mythic Zeros, you're probably sitting at about 13 to 14 Renown. At this point, then I would recommend to do the normal mode raid. If you can't do normal mode, you could decide to start doing your guaranteed forms of Renown now, such as killing the world boss, doing your Souls quest, and then doing the entirety of the campaign quest. It depends on what your goal is that week and what you want to grind out. And waiting till the end of the week for the guaranteed forms is only really all that relevant if you need to get your Renown within this week period of time. But if you just care about getting the Renown somewhat efficiently over a period of time and you aren't geared enough yet to do normal mode raid or even Heroic raid, you could very easily just first decide to do your entire Covenant campaign, especially because you get 197 iron level gear from finishing the whole campaign. You could do the whole campaign first and then finish off all your other guaranteed forms, and then you could probably have about like 24 Renown if you do all those other things first by the end of the week. But if you like just swap Covenants on like your main character, then I would of course wait to do the whole campaign, and then I would just do Heroic raid. Heroic raid, I think I got about 5 Renown. If you could manage to get into a Mythic raid even, Mythic drops, I'm pretty sure it's guaranteed Renown every time. Especially if you're lower Renown. I'm not sure if there's like a cap on that or something, but on Tuesday I was at like 32 or 33, and I got to 38 literally just from killing all 10 of the Mythic bosses. So Mythic actually has a super high drop rate per boss, but I imagine most of you aren't going to be able to get your fresh Covenant swapped character or fresh level 60 character into a Mythic raid. So after doing normal mode, you could decide to do Heroic, or you could then do the other forms of guaranteed Renown. That's pretty much it. The main takeaway is just that early on, you want to maximize how much you can get, and you don't want to do those guaranteed forms early because you can just get a lot of free Renown just by doing Heroic Dungeons, LFR, normal even, and then some Mythic Zeros or even some Mythic Plus. Like I said, once I got to, I think it was 30 renown. I went and did 2 mythic plus weeklies, and I actually got, or no, I was 29 renown. I did 2 mythic plus weeklies, and I looted renown from both of those, which was very surprising to me because people told me that their drop rates were very low in mythic plus. But if that's something that you wanted to do, you could. Of course, I'll have all of this written down in the description, so feel free to reference that whenever you want. But the main takeaway is that you can get very easily like 15 renown in the course of a couple hours, and then the latter half of the renown is the difficult part, doing callings, which you can get pretty lucky with callings and actually get a lot of renown from those if you're pretty patient with them. You could do the entirety of your renown campaign, or covenant campaign, which will give you about 7. And then outside of that, you could do the world boss, the souls, and the anima. So your guaranteed forms, it's like you could get like 15 renown from the guaranteed forms, and if you get lucky with drop rates from the first half, you could easily get 15 and then be at 30 by the end of the week like I was. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below. I understand this video was a little bit confusing to follow, but I tried my best. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.